Van Workshop. That's something a bit different. I've got some work to do on the van. So if you've seen the channel and stuff on the channels before, you'll have seen that we had a Swift Rio 340, and you'll probably notice this isn't a Swift Rio 340. So it was a bit of a wrench, because we've had that van about 5 years and we've done a lot of really cool stuff in it, and it was our first motorhome, but we've just spotted that. I don't know what that's for. That's interesting. No idea what that's for. Is that to keep it in the rail? Must be to keep it in the rail. Right. Anyway, we digress. We bit the bullet. We've been looking for about a year at vans to try and get ready for in 2 years' time when we're going to buy a van. And we've gone through several Baileys, Coachman, Swift, another Swift. And actually, Swift was probably the one that turned us on to a particular style of van. That was the Escape 640, I think it was. Very almost identical layout to this, but this has got one feature that won it in the end. Swift were a very nice van, very well decked out, and we were looking at the Highline 640 as well, which is a Loudon special. So they take the 640 and they put their touch on it. They put some extra stuff in and nice fancy leather seats and stuff like that, and some extra bits and bobs. That, to be honest, was a lot of the stuff that we had on the old 640, the old the 340 Rio anyway, because that was a black edition, so you got a lot of posh stuff with that. But anyway, it was you didn't get leather seats though. What happened was that we kind of decided on a particular van by a particular manufacturer, and then we were going to go and look at it at the NEC show that was coming up in October, I think. Yes, October. And we messed about a bit. We talked to MB over there to see whether they were going to take one, because we wanted to see one with this particular feature in to see if it was worthwhile and it would sway us away from the Swift Escape. Because obviously we've not had a Chausson before, and there's a couple of things that with the Chausson that I'll explain later that I won't say they're not as good, but they don't make life in a camper van as easy as it was with the Swifts. But there's downsides to that as well. I'll get onto that in a bit. So what ended up happening was that we then spotted one that appeared on Auto Trade, a brand new van, but it had the pack that we wanted. So we were going to order one, maybe when we were ready, and order it with this pack on, and then you've probably got to wait about 6 to 12 months to go and get one. But this one was on the forecourt, brand spanking new van. It had been ordered for somebody with a whole load of extras on it. They paid a deposit, and then they decided to fuck off abroad to buy an house. So we just dropped on, went to go and have a look at it, and basically just went, well, we'll take it. So we did a deal. Rather stupidly, we did the deal before we agreed a deal on Rio. We should have walked away and taken Rio in, but that panned out into a completely different beast anyway. It wouldn't have made any difference anyway, because some nice pleasant person who lives local to us decided to vandalise the Rio the day we took him in. So we would have, regardless, we would have renegotiated anyway, so I don't think it made any difference. That we did a really good deal with them. Lovely place to work with. It's quite a small motorhome dealership. It's not one of these massive ones where it's like walking into a BMW showroom and then you're just thinking, how much of this am I paying for? It's a nice little outfit out at Scunthorpe. It's called John Cooper's Leisure. I think they've got some rally car or racing car heritage. They do a lot of other stuff, and he's into motorhomes, so he just kind of expanded the business into selling leisure stuff for motorhomes, and then he's now a main dealer for Chausson. So if you want to get a really good deal, go see John over at John Cooper's. Really nice black. He can't do enough for you. Just ping him. He gives you a number, WhatsApp number. You just put any questions you've got, anything you want adding to the van, anything, and he gets back to you really quickly. It's like I want a battery balancer fit into this, because that's one of the downsides against the Swift is that the solar panel doesn't charge the cab battery, so you've got to keep an eye on the cab battery, especially if you've got all the security gizmos on, which this has got, which I'm not going to say any more about that, but it's got them in abundance. So obviously that's got a drain on the battery. So and it's in storage now, obviously, because the old van got vandalised. We're not going to leave this here on the drive like we used to. It's a little bit bigger as well. It's 7 metres, and the old van was 6.4 metres, I think. So, but I can get it on the drive. We are on the drive now. I reversed it on the drive. It's actually easier when there's cars there because I've got something to aim at when I'm not. It took me about 5 attempts to get it on today. But we've got about 2 metres at the front, and we're slammed up against the garage in the back. But anyway, right, let's give you a walk round, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do today. So everybody, when they do the walk round, starts outside and spends all the time looking under the bonnet. Nobody gives a monkeys about what's under the bonnet. They only want to see what's in the interior, and they're not that bothered about this bit. But it's worth talking about it, obviously, because we've had vans. We had a minibus stolen here and some other stuff. We've got an armour plate Resolute. Wasn't too sure about it, but it means I've got one less key because I haven't got a pedal box key, and I haven't got the old crook lock on. I let them go with the other van. And problem with this one as well is pedal boxes aren't that much good anyway, because you've only got one pedal, because they usually lock the brake and the clutch. The accelerator is difficult to do because it's a flappy thing anyway. So you're pretty much knackered. So this thing goes down, it hooks around the plate and it jams it there, so it just makes it difficult to drive. Downside, probably you've only got one thing to get off, but anyway. You can see it's the new 2025 Ford Transit with the new fancy gearbox, the automatic handbrake and all that kind of stuff, and the nice display. That is fantastic, right? I even begun to start messing about with that, and bearing in mind I drive a 5 Series BMW normally, which you've seen on the channel, so I'm not just showing off. It's old, it's a 2012, but that's got all the bells and whistles. It was years ahead of its time with some of the stuff that had got on it. But so I'm fairly good with all the tech that's in cars, and obviously I work, the company I work for does a lot of the programs behind that anyway, so I do understand how it all works. But anyway, fantastic setup. Everything's really nice. Downsides against the Fiat, the only one I can find about the cockpit, obviously it's got sat nav, which the other one didn't have, but other than that, the Fiats had a flap in the top there where that's got a hole, and you could put drinks in there, and the air conditioning blew through it, so it cooled your drinks, which you think that's not much. Trust me, I've had that on a couple of BMWs where you put your cans in the armrest, and it will flipping get the can nice and cold. And when you're stuck in the car and it's a red hot day, it's just lovely having cold water straight out of that thing, or a cold can or whatnot. I haven't found out if this has got anything similar. I did have a look in there, but I don't think there's anything in there. Not sure what that is. I think that's a connector for another aerial that we don't use. So I have to keep shoving that back up. It keeps popping back down again. So we'll get that out of the way. It's got a DAB radio. Loads of pockets, loads of charging. That's the difference with this. You've got 12 volt there, 12 volt there, USB-C there, normal USB there. I think there's another one kicking around somewhere as well. I can't quite remember there. The auto handbrake and the park brakes down there. What else have we got? There's another flap there, another drinks holder. It's drinks holders everywhere. That's a drinks holder, that's a drinks holder, that's a drinks holder. Because it's the tranny as well. It's almost the same interior up here as we had in the tranny minibus we had. So there's all these little cubby holes which are kind of that standard transit, that bit. So there's obviously part of the roof still up there, which there will be because the post there. Everything up here is Chausson going forwards. Massive area. You might think, oh, that's a bit rubbish. You've put stuff up there, it's just going to fly around. There's a lighting strip up there as well that backlights all this lot. You've got a nice panoramic window. Looks a lot better. It's got a proper frame on it and everything, so it's way better than that stupid bloody thing on the Swift that a lot of people had problems with. Well, we didn't. But you can store your bedding up here, and that's mainly what we use it for. So when we're travelling, all the bedding and duvet and everything go up there for the bottom bed. The rest of the bedding, we'll come to that in a minute because I don't want to give the bed away. Motors for the beds are there. Nearly get it away. There's a key switch there that turns them off. So that's to stop your kiddies. Again, you've got nice lights there. I'm not sure what we use them for. We never use these lights here. It's going about a bit old school. A lot of people moan about these, but actually when we were away last time, we did put the seats forward and put that round, and it does stop the flashing from the battery charger down there. So there's battery charger under there. Flashes a blue light. We were in the bottom bed, so what we do is we put the seats forward, pull the curtains across, and it just isolates the cab, and it stops a lot of condensation in the front, because that's a common problem with camper vans when you're camping in them, motorhomes as camper vans. If you haven't got the external quilted thing on, you get a lot of condensation on the windscreen. It can run down because it's more than you'd normally get driving. It runs down, it can get into your electrics at the back. We've never had that problem. But because we bought the Arctic pack on this one, it comes with a quilted thermal screen that's been tailor-made for this van, so that's brilliant. But you've got the added that you can put that round as well, and it keeps all the sort of warm, moist air in here and keeps this area here a lot drier. So that's a good side. It's got different blinds. So everybody seems to be going to these now. There's 2 blinds. You pull them up. You can either put it down into that shorter one and put these down to block it up, and that's an easier way to do it. It will jump up and go even higher all the way up. A lot of people moan about them, but I don't know why. They work perfect in here. These are slightly different. These are a bit more finicky than the other ones, and I thought that's going it. So that comes up and you follow it up. You just got to take your time with it. If you start ragging it around, let the kids play with it, it's going to get wrecked then. I can see them being a bit of an issue. But again, if you've got the quilted van on, you don't need them. I think you just tend to use that when you're away in the summer, and you just use them as a blackout blind. If it's anywhere that's cold, don't bother. But we mainly go to France in the motorhomes when we're in them for a long period of time. Right, moving back. Lovely dining room area, because this van's a bit wider than the other one. Electric table goes up and down. It has got a bit of a wonk on it, so I'm going to see if I can level that one up. It's decent. It swivels, it goes forwards and backwards, side to side, and there's a little locking thing there for when you're traveling. You put the lock on and it stops it from disappearing all over the place, wanging up and down. It's got the hidden car seats as well, so it's got 2 belted seats. You take all them off and the seat pops up. You can see it's under there. That's really comfortable, way more comfortable than them bolt upright seats we had in the Swift Rio when they're on the bulk, like a bulkhead there, and there's just 2 seats and you sat bolt upright. These are really comfortable. They lean back at a nice angle. One of these forms the back. It's got a headrest. Because of where it is on this one, you kick that out of the way, and then you can leave a cushion there and put your feet up and stretch out. This one's a little bit more different. You can see the headrest for that one's stuck in the floor, so you pop it up, you pull the headrest out and your feet go there. We have got some work to do on it today. So this comes built with a twin battery charger. All the wiring's already in, and you get a loom kit when you buy it. So all you've got to do is buy a battery and shove it in, and then connect with Wi-Fi to that to configure it for the new battery, and then you've got 2 solar panels. Absolutely brilliant. Love that stuff about Chausson. They think about that kind of stuff. There is wonder models though, where because of the configuration of the seats, if you want the extra leisure battery, you have to take the second pop-up seat out because it goes there, but not with this layout that we've got. So that's fine. Loads and loads and loads of storage up these. I love these pockets. They're brilliant. You can just lob stuff up there. And it really does my wife's head in, because you just chuck stuff up. We've got one here, the doggy bags are in there. Everything that we need as we go out the door goes there. Fire alarm and stuff up there. Really big wide doors. So these are the same width doors that they've got on the Swift Escape, and they make a big deal about it, but it seems that Chausson don't. It seems to be a better made door than we had before. It's a lot sturdier. Absolutely brilliant. Usual fly screen goes across there. We're having a bit of an issue with that thing popping out of the door, so it might get a bit of hot glue on it just to stop it from popping out, but it's not an issue really. It's just that it looks a bit unsightly. We weren't sure what was going on with there, but I think it's just where somebody screwed it in. They've got a little bit, it's a bit of a, but do you know what, people get very excited about stuff like that, but do you know what, as long as it works, I don't care. Plenty of coat hangers there and there. Control panel, this is where it starts to get not as good as the Swift. So the Swift control panel was brilliant. You did everything. It run your heating, your fridge, your batteries. It managed your batteries. It balanced your batteries from the solar to the car and the thing, and automatically fit between them. So you could just leave it there and forget about it. This doesn't. This just looks after the leisure batteries, and there's a separate solar converter for that, and there's no heating on here at all. So all this will tell you is battery level for your hab side, battery level for your cab side. It will tell you the water level you've got, but it won't tell you your waste level, which is annoying. But what it does do, see, at the moment it's telling me it's got some water in there, which it shouldn't have because I've drained it out. So I think there's something going wrong with the sensor on that one, because there is no water in it. All that happens is when your waste is full, you get a flashing light on there, but I don't think you get a beep, which is a bit annoying because you used to get a beep in the other one. And then it tells you here whether you're on electric hookup or on battery as well. It flicks between those two. That's how you turn your internal 12 volt on. So all your lights and everything that need your internal, but it's got a light picture on for some reason. That catches a few people out. So the table, bed, motor doesn't work unless you've got that on as well. That caught us out a few times. That's your pump. Obviously it's going to make a whole noise because I've drained it all out. And that's your outside awning light. It does sound like it's got a bit of water in there actually, and I was supposed to have drained it down. So, oh no, I know what it is. We disconnected the pump, so I've got that's a good point. I've got to remember to reconnect that. So the pump's under here, easy to get to. Now what they recommend is you disconnect it. So ours has been disconnected. Obviously it spat a bit of water out there. There must have been some sat in there. They just recommend you disconnect it for winter. It's a lot different to Swift that just tell you to just drain it down and run the taps dry. So before I forget, I will shove that back in because we are going away this weekend. I've just got to find the other end. It's there and work out why it won't go in. That's it, we're in. Job's a good one. Knock that down as well, that's for the hot water. So that's how you drain that out. That's the gas hot water system in there. That's the battery charger, and that's for the underfloor heating. That's the switch for the I haven't mentioned that, have I? So part of the Arctic pack, and this is why we went for this van, is that switch down there. That's your underfloor heating. It's not enough to heat the van, but it heats the floor, so you don't have a cold floor. Because it's got the Arctic pack as well, it's got extra insulation as well, so that's brilliant. Right, moving back. Really good drawer systems, because one of the problems we had with the Rio was there was just no storage. So that's our shit drawer. Everybody's got one at home, we've got one in the van. Right, so all the crap, charging cables, bits and bobs, batteries, crap like that just gets thrown in there. Right, there's a pocket thing down there that I've been chucking wine bottles in, to be honest. It is okay, as you'd probably want to put something between them because they will rattle around a bit. And then we've got this weird cupboard here that's kind of the most useless cupboard in the world. You can just about get our water bottles in, so we always have water bottles in the van, so that if the water doesn't taste so good, everybody has a litre of water that they can have in there. And my missus is a bit finicky about her tea as well, so we'll often boil the kettle, but we'll have a whole load of these in there, and we use them for the kettle. And we'll go and get them from somewhere else. If I've chlorinated the tank, because we're going away and it's been warm and that, you've got to chlorinate the tank, put your little chlorine tablets in. She doesn't like it so much, so we'll just go and get water from the fresh water tap on the campsite and make sure we've got a couple in there so people can drink out of them and that don't want that. So that's about it. So it's pretty much just a wine cupboard. And I think last time we chucked a load of noodles and some pasta in it, but it's a bit of a weird one. That it's kind of a cupboard that doesn't really do anything. Right, through to the kitchen. Shift the keys. We don't do a lot of cooking in. We tend to cook outside, but this is I cooked a decent meal the other day when we had everything pasta. I was frying up onions and stuff like that. We all did it on here, had no problems at all. And even if we needed another thing, we could have used that. I'll be honest, they're a bit shit. You can't boil a kettle on it, because if you try to boil any decent amount of water on there, it generally knocks off. So we've got a special kettle with a really thin bottom that's designed for electric plates that works okay on there. But even if you fill that to the top and try and boil it, you're wasting your time really. So we are going to bring the electric kettle back in. Sinks here, lovely sink, stainless steel sink, cutting board as well that we'll never use as a cutting board because my missus is like that. It does have an issue which we do need to go and talk to to John about, that this tap drips. It drips for about 20 minutes after you've used it, and then it stops dripping. But obviously if you want to leave that on top of there, it just ends up with a pool of water on top of there, which it will run out, but it's annoying. So we need to get that fixed. It's exactly the same tap in the bathroom. Tap in the bathroom doesn't do it, so we don't know what the crack is there. It might have a bit of plastic that's gone through into the seal from the manufacturing. metal plate thing there. It's just kind of a splashback, but I've seen people using magnetic shelves and things on there, so we might investigate that. Other than that, I'm not really sure what it does, other than it's just protecting that wall from getting saturated. These are different. So we were used to the thingy blinds, so everything's sprung, so you pull it down, it goes back up, which is all right, but there can be, this bottom one can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. So if you don't quite get it in both locks, there's a lock there and a lock there. If you miss one of them, it can come out of the runners and it gets all bunched up, and it's an absolute twat to get it back in. So what we've found with it is if you do that, even if you get it wrong, it can't go anywhere. And the same when you're bringing it back down, bring it back down, get it to lock into place, and then take that up, and it just seems to work better. Nice windows, good mechanism, no issues there, fairly straightforward stuff. Nice deep drawer there, and these are a lot better made than the ones in the Swift, which were just made out of tissue paper. You know, proper veneer on proper laminate on the front, like heavy duty. Decent sized cupboard there, so there's even a bin bag there, so it's not on the back of your door, which I hated. We've got all our pots and pans in there, and that's nice, good sized cupboard. Same here, as a decent sized cupboard, all the utensils fit in there. That's the kettle I was on about. It's a Outwell. It seems to work pretty well. Oven, pretty shit, but we weren't bothered about that because we didn't really use the other oven. So it's got the tiniest of trays in there for the grill. You can see it's only about, yeah, it's tiny. So we are looking on out of our extensive range of shit bits that we've kept off other cookers to see if we've got something else we can bring in, or just a tray with a plate in it that we can use in there. Very nice though, stainless steel inside. But we didn't use the other one really. Every time we tried to cook pizza or something like that, it was a bit shit. So 2 gas burners, 1 electric, nice and simple. That doubles up as an oven and a grill. So there you go. It's got a little pop-up thing on here because it is a one of the things that Mrs. moaned about initially when we looked at this versus Swift is there's not much preparation area. But if you think about it, you've got that area there and you've got that area under there. And one thing we couldn't do in the other van is actually utilise the kitchen table as well. And constantly everybody was trying to push past you, and because there was no room. So it seems to be a lot better. So we'll just fold that down. Have I done the big ups? So lots of cupboards up here. Decent size, decent strength shelf there, so you can put heavy stuff in there. Again, just be careful if you've got heavy stuff in there, because they do have a habit of busting through the doors when you're driving. So we generally keep heavy stuff down low and just keep cereals, cups, plates and stuff like that. We are going to look at this and put an organiser for plates and stuff in there, but at the moment we've got everything in there okay. Controls for your, I want to say water. Yes, this is where it gets... It's like a backwards step compared to the Swift. So the Swift, you had a control panel, it was a Truma panel, and you could control it through your phone and do all sorts of stuff remotely. You know, I could be at home and turn the heating on in the van and stuff like that. But you know what, we never used it. This is just nice and simple. If I want to use it on the electric and I've got the electric hookup, I press the button for electric hookup, either hot or super hot. Right? If we're on gas, either press hot or super hot. If I want to run both, I turn them both on. It's no pissing about with the Truma panel or the Swift panel, trying to work out why it's giving you an error because one of your energy supplies isn't set up right. Right, another one that sold it for the missus. The fridge is fantastic. It's about twice the size. It's got its own freezer box. Lovely big fridge. It's not a condenser. I'm not too convinced about the condensers yet, so... We know the gas works well, even when it's been like 40-something degrees in France. These Thetford fridges have just worked. They've been absolutely fantastic. So we've stuck with that. I think the next model that comes out, the next year's version of this van, has got the condenser in there. So could we have waited and got the condenser? Not that bothered, to be honest. So normally in here, you have a TV bracket that slides out. Previous person who ordered it didn't spec it out. We're not bothered about it. We very rarely watch the TV. We watch it all on the laptop, but it's all pre-wired for all the electrics and everything, and that's quite a handy little socket up there. So we chuck a lot of the tech up here for charging, like laptops and stuff. Gets chucked up there to charge it up. We can also put a USB thing in the 12-volt supply to charge if we need it, but there are charging points everywhere. There's 2 points under there, USB B, two USB Bs under there. There's a USB C and a US B there as well, and that's all brilliant for when you're up on the top beds, because we haven't got to that bit yet. There's another one down there as well, it's USB things, so we tend to chuck stuff on there. Right, you've probably seen now that we've got 2 bed symbols, and you're thinking this van isn't long enough to have 2 pull down beds. Well, so this is what sold it to us. I don't know if you can see that. So they are longitudinal beds for starters, not sleeping that way, which are transverse beds, which is where we were before. These are longitudinal beds. I think I've got it the right way around. So what you're supposed to do, we'll take the table all the way down. I'm going to do this because hardly any of the people that do these actually show this. Let me just need to find that knob. So there's a knob under, there it is. You tighten the knob in, just need to move it over a bit. So this actually forms part of the bottom bed. You fold it out and it hooks on there, and then you've got some other cushions that are in the back. But that goes down if you want to go to the bed. So we're not doing the bottom bed, because again we need videos on that as well, because I've still got some unanswered questions as whether that's supposed to hook onto there. But anyway, that's down. So if you want to use the bottom bed, you'd fold that out, shove it that way, and then there's another infill piece that goes there with a board on it, and then another infill piece that goes in there without a board on it, and then you just arrange all these cushions and jobs are good. It's really comfortable. All the sleeping we've done has been on the bottom bed because we had the dog with us, and he's not very well, the dog, and he wanted to sleep with us. But this is what sold it, right? And that's quick compared to the Swift. That's flying down. Way up. We've got a problem. Houston, we've got a problem. I bet that's that driver's seat. Yeah, driver's seats fall all the way back. Ugh. Yep, Mrs. has wound it back. Tell you one thing, that would have broken us, mind you. It might have broken this. Nope, that's fine. Let's try again. Doop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doop. And it goes all the way down. That's as low as it'll go. It cuts off itself. There is another one. Now, I thought there was a mark on the wall for it, but you can gauge it with the ladder. So the ladder's chucked underneath one of these beds, and there's a ladder. The ladder clips on there or there and goes across. So you've got a straight ladder to get up onto them. And you set it so the ladder's sort of hooked in with a little bit of a lean on it. I did think that there was a marker somewhere that told you where it was, where you dropped it down to, but I think I might be confusing that with another one. Same with this one. One bed is actually slightly longer than the other as well. So the only thing you've got to bear in mind is that when your beds are down... Oh, I've done the same one on that one as well. We'll leave that one up, so I can't be asked to go through and move the driver's seat. The missus doesn't like having the driver's seats turned round, but I do, so that's probably one reason, good reason to turn them round. If you can have this one down, just bear in mind it does block the door, so just think about your fire exits and escapes and that. But if you've got 2 of you and you've got the bed down to there and you're double stacking, see it's a double bed, that's not so much of a problem, because you can quite easily pull that out and duck under and get out anyway. When that bed's all the way down, you can still get to there, but you're going to have to go over the top of the bed to get out. There's no way you're going to go underneath, so just bear that one in mind. Reason I like this is because I can shove that table right the way over there, out the way, and when I get up in the morning and I want a cup of tea, I've got somewhere to sit rather than trying to sit up in bed. But other than that, that was the main reason why we got this. Was when we were in the other one and they went that way, Joanna got to climb over me every time she wanted to go to the toilet. In the mornings, I got nowhere to sit apart from in the driver's seats turned round. And it would just, if we'd have gone for this van with the double bed, which is what the thing was, I wouldn't have had anywhere to sit when the beds were down. I'd have had to gone and got back in bed and just sit there, right? Because you can't, I'd have had to climb over the bed to the other side to get into the driver's seats, even if they were turned around. It still wouldn't work very well. So I've just decided that this just ticked everything. hold on, next door's out. Right, done me admin and me good neighbour bit now. Right, let's get these beds up. Oops. Can't see if you point the right one. What's quite good about these, as you can see, when they go all the way up, you can actually leave your bedding on. You can't leave your pillows on, but you can leave your bedding on. So the pillows go in that overhead piece there. Right. So that was the main difference between all the vans. This is the only van that's got the split two-man beds. But obviously, as we've just found out, you've got to be a bit careful with the. Make sure that doesn't stick out, because we've just caught that. And the other one is when you're dropping the table as well. Make sure that it doesn't catch onto that. But what you do is you just, for this bottom bit, is you shove it all the way that way. You shove it all the way across. Flip that over, it catches on there, and then obviously that's part of your bed. Makeup, blown heater exit points there. Right, heating. Let's go on to the heating now, because that was another one that actually has turned out to be a massive improvement. Right, heating. Press that button, comes on. Ignore all that. What I could have done was just press that, right, and that. So pressing any button wakes it up. If you just press that, it turns it on. You set what you want heating wise. You press the button. You tell it whether you want it to low, medium, or high. Right? I normally just have it on low, and then off you go. Right? It just wants its clocks and stuff resetting at the moment, and that is it. Right? I don't think it's hardwired in. I think it's thingy, but that will kick off in a minute. The lights will flicker if the lights were on, and off it goes. Yeah, that's just continuous, right? Yeah, because what you can do is you set it for an hour, and it just runs for an hour and then cools down. That'll kick off in a minute. It takes about a minute or so to get up to speed. Like I said, it's a diesel heater, so as long as you've got more than 20% of your tank left, it will just run off your diesel, and it uses very little. I can't remember. Somebody actually said it's like half a litre a night or something like that. So, and it is flipping toasty. It gets warm really, really quick. So compared to the blown heating, which I found a little bit hit and miss, it either go into overdrive and it was either too hot, too cold. You could never seem to get it right. You seem to be able to tweak that lovely. Anyway, move on from that, because it is a bit cool in there. Could do with getting it a bit warmer. Skylight up there, same thing. It's almost identical to the one we had in Rio at the back, but this one's actually got the twisty thing. So you just wang that and it goes up. All you've got to do is just make sure that red thingy is there and it's in the lockdown position, and you're fine then. You shouldn't have any issues with that. Usual things, it's got blinds and fly thingies on it. Right, here's the main reason why we changed the van. The toilet and bathroom were all in one, right? And that's a nightmare. But even we're quite small. Well, I'm only 5'6". The missus is only 5 foot on one leg and 5'1" on the other, right? We're not big units either. But we struggled in that bathroom, so I don't know how anybody else would manage it. So we've gone for this. This is more like a kind of a traditional caravan bathroom. There's a lot of them have them like this now. It's called an end bathroom, so it's at the back of the bus. So as you can see, we've already got a garage. It's just a lovely layout. We've got loads of storage as well, so we aren't going to have all the bathroom stuff in there. In fact, some of the stuff in there ends up in here now. Lovely sink. It has got a bit of a leak, which I'm going to go and fix today. So there's a... because it doesn't have an overflow in, the waste pipe water trap has facility for an overflow, but it's just capped off with like a vacuum seal thing like they use in a car. It's just a little cap that goes over, like a rubbery cap. It drips from there. I did get it to stop, and then it started again. So we're going to fix that. I'm going to put I'm going to see if I've got a fuel thing or a Jubilee clip I can put around it just to snug it up to stop that. The other one doesn't leak, but I could see it could end up leaking. So we did reroute some of the wiring, because the wiring was the piping was jammed behind it. That was pressing on it and causing it to piss water out. So I've moved all that. It stopped, reseated it, but then it started again. So I do need to have a look at that. But other than that, it's a nice little space. Floor heater in here. It's got some nice little glass trays and glass cups and things that go in there, but we don't travel with them in case they jump out. But they probably wouldn't, because they are pretty much jammed in there. As I said, same tap at the front. This one doesn't leak. Nice big mirror. And I'll tell you what it is, because this is, you never find it. So it's got a nice little bathroom light in here, comes on, and some other and up there as well, a couple of other bits, and there's some nice little hidden lighting that you'll see in a the shower lights up quite nicely as well, and there's some other, I can't remember, there's some other mood lighting in here somewhere as well. There's a little tiny switch under there. You would never find it. A nice little cubby hole that needs a bit of adjustment. It's slightly out of line. I'm not too bothered about it. I'm just concerned it's going to rub on there, because I think that's where it's rubbing. So what I'll do is we'll just adjust that, and so it doesn't do that. It just wants that hinge lifting up a little bit, or that one pushing down a little bit. The trouble is they've lined it up there but not there, so it might be that we shove it across. Nice little metal trays again, so you can shove stuff in there. Again, don't put stuff in there if you're travelling. Usual Thetford toilets. Is it Thetford? Yes, Thetford toilets. Uses the standard waste. You can hear the heating's just kicked off now. We've got a roller shutter here. Tamper unit style door. I can't be bothered to get that out. Have a thing of silicone spray in the van with you, because that does tend to get full of crap. So you need to wipe it out and then squirt a bit of silicone spray on it just to keep it running smooth. We've got a clip on here. I don't know what the crack is, whether they're just not very good, but the magnetic strips aren't very good on here. Now, we've been on other vans and it took quite a bit of pulling, but you can see that that is not sticking at the bottom. And what the effect you're getting is, see, it's stuck now, but when we're going and it starts resonating, and all of a sudden the door pops open and slams into something. It's got a mark on it there as well. I wonder if it's it could be, yeah, somebody's had the, I think somebody's left that open and it's been rubbing against that. So we just put a little clip on there. It's quite a nice bathroom. Because we've winterized it, I've unplugged that, left it on the bottom. When you're travelling, it's best not to travel with this. This is a lot lighter than some of the others, so you can chuck it at the bottom or have it flapping around. But what we do is we screw, obviously that'll be connected up. When we're travelling, I just use that, we clamp it on, just leave it there, and that's fine. You've got a couple of plug holes in there as well for some strange reason, though the middle of one of them did disappear into there, and I've got to try and rescue that. Drainage wise, it would have been better with one over there and one over there, because it is a bit of a pain, but it does seem to drain quite nicely. And we've got a cap that keeps popping off there, which I'll have to sort out. Niggly things, but stuff some people would probably moan quite considerably about, but I can't be bothered. Yeah, it does look like somebody's been driving this, or somebody at some point's moved it with the door open and the glass of the mirror's been rubbing on that. So that's a bit shit, we didn't spot that. Yeah, it's quite deep as well. But anywho, right, the missus loves this. Right, nice little shoe holders there and there, drawers. They're all on soft. How cool is that? But the quality of that, it's not that paper shit stuff that they have on Swifts. It's really thick, sort of plasticky covering. You can see it's like that, but that's on there as well. They're a little bit flimsy, but they're no worse than what's on a Swift, so just want to be careful about them. But look, I mean, just look at the storage. I mean, it's got a lovely coat hanger rail up there, which we actually use. We never used the hanging space in the other van because we had to keep the table and all the bedding in it. Nice little overhead thing there. Another spinny job there with you have to lock it down. I think there's something you have to free off first, yes, which is not obvious until you get up there. You can just about see it. I can't see that from down here, so it took me ages to work out what the crack was with that. But same thing with the twangy bits. I suppose you can see it if I do that, but you have to flick that look across and then wind that. Same with lock it before it comes down. Same with that one. This one's got a drying rail on it as well, so that pops out the ceiling, drops down. You can hang your clothes on it. Right, the garage. Sorry about the mess in here. So we're going to have a look at that in a minute, but massive garage. I could get 2, possibly 3 bikes in there. You could even get a scooter in there if you wanted. A 50cc scooter would fit in there. Just got to be careful with this, because for some reason Chaussons and a lot of the French vans do seem to have problems with damp in the back, and I think somebody said it's because of the construction that they use that Swift don't. But to be honest, if that's the best thing that Swift can come up with as to why these are shit compared to all the shitness that is going on with their vans and not wanting to take responsibility for it, including great cracks in the front plastic thing, because ours had a massive crack in there. It was under warranty and they just wouldn't even look at it. And it was quite obvious that it had been tied up too tight and had sheared it. But no, don't want to look at it. We've got reports of them flying off down the motorway and stuff, and ours used to resonate like a bugger, but I think we were quite lucky with our Rio that it was actually turned out to be quite well built. But anyway, that's the inside. I don't think I've missed anything. Oh, it's getting quite toasty and warm in here now. As I said, job to do today will probably be a different video, because I'll put this one up as a walk round video. We're going to do the batteries, we're going to fix that, and I've got some hooks to put up which I'll show you in a minute, because we're going to go outside. Sidewise, one of the entrances to the garage is in here. Let's shift my trolley out of the way. So it's really big. This is the narrow top one. There's a light just there with a switch to turn it on. The awning winders there. There's vents for the heating come through here, so it is warmed in here. There's an electric socket and a 12-volt socket back here. So if you've got a teenager that you're sick of the sight of, you can chuck them in here and just tell them it's an ensuite bedroom with their own ensuite bathroom if they can crawl through the dog hole. Thermal blind that came with it's there. I don't think the infill cushions are here because we're not going to use them. So when we're not in the van, so they don't get damp and mouldy and get a chance of holding damp in here, they go down to the house. Obviously we've got a lot of stuff in here that we use for regularly travelling, to all the cables and stuff in there. Fire extinguishers there, but we need to move that to the front. Tow lines, the things, that was just stuff like that was really annoying in the other van. We had nowhere to store the chairs, so you turn up on site and you just have to chuck them under the van, because you travelled with them on top of the seats or on top of the bed at the back, and it was just a nightmare. But now obviously we've got this big area. I have got a bike rack for the back as well. So we've got the Fiamma bike rack. Is it? I can't remember what they call it now. It's a Bike Rack Pro or something. Bike Carry Pro, and it's in black and it looks absolutely awesome. Just holds 2 bikes and it's absolutely spot on. It's a lovely back end on this, but I can't really show you how good it is. But there's a reversing camera down there that gives you a really clear picture. It's just nice back end. I love the colour of it as well. Heater panels for the thing. These are winterized, so they've got the winter plates on, which you use in the winter just to help the fridge out a bit. Alloy wheels, one LPG canister, which I can't get to, which I will show you. Bear with me a second. Oops, just locked the door, I think. One LPG calendar. I think you can get something probably a bit bigger, or you could put a Gaslow single canister in there. That's fine. It's does everything we want. We very rarely use more than a gas canister. We have got the thing for the toilet waste is in there, standard thing. You've seen all them. External barbecue point, we never had one of them before. Comes with all the hookups and everything on a quick release. We've done the LPG. I need to sort that nose out. Just watch with these where you leave that, because the out pipe for the exhaust for the diesel heater comes out there, so just make sure you've not kicked that and it's in front of that, because it will melt through it apparently. That's your cover for your gas vent for your hot water cylinder when you're running on gas, so you've got to take that off. Apparently it's got a switch on that will tell you that it won't fire up if that's on, but I'm not sure how that works. So what I do basically is I've got a sticker on the switches that tell me to remind me to take that off, and to remind me to put it back on I chuck it on the dashboard. It's got an external shower point as well, which comes with it, that's in the boot, so you just clip that on. It's good for washing your bike, your dog. This is one of the things that they seem to be quite proud of, and they make a big deal about this one. I think it's all right, but it's not that exciting. Oh, sorry, you have to bear with me. Sorry, I'm close up with the van. So they call this the tech box or something. I can't remember what. Now I've got a few issues with this before we start. So your electrics are behind there, that's fine, love that, the fact that you can do all that and you haven't got to piss about in the van, and that works brilliantly. You fill your water up here, there's a water nozzle there, you fill that in, and then if you can take that off, which I've never managed to get it off, you could probably clean the inside of your thing a lot easier and fix the probes. Now this is supposed to be a 20 litre shut-off valve because it holds 100 and something litres. The idea is you pull that up and it drains it down to 20 litres in theory for when you're travelling. It even says that there, maximum minimum level. If you want to completely drain it, there's a tap underneath and you have to undo that, and that completely drains it down. It's underneath there, and it's like a push-on sink tap that you have at home kind of thing on your central heating. I can't get this to work. The only way this water comes out when you lift that up is if you turn the pump on. But then if you turn the pump on, it drains it all the way down to nothing in there and just runs it dry. So I don't know how that's supposed to work. I've asked loads of people and nobody's... Now if that's the case, you just drain it down until the light comes on there to say you're low on water. That's fine, at least I know that's it. But all the instructions say you just flick that up and just let it drain away. It doesn't. And I think that's about it. We haven't got into this one yet, have we? Where have I put my keys? Where have I put my keys? Oh, I've lost my keys already. Don't give me keys. If everybody knows me, I'll be laughing at this point. Because I lose my keys at least 3 times a day. And then even lose more keys while I'm trying to find the first keys I've lost. That's it. Can't do it with one hand. I do like the fact that they all lock back. Right, so you can get into here. So what we're going to do today as well is, I've got my dry robe with me today, because you can hang your wetsuits and stuff up in here to dry them, because it's a drained away floor. So even if you get water in here, it drains away. I've got a couple of proper, I think they're coachman things. We're just going to drop them in there at the right height. One there, so we can hang our dry robes up in here. So we haven't got to have them in. And because they're magnetic and they stay closed, if you want to drop it down, then they just stay closed on the back of there. And then you've got some extra storage there and there if you're struggling with space. Because a lot of these tray things that we've got here can go in there instead, up there and up there. And that, and you can see that one folds up. So all I've got to do today is just make sure that when I hang my dry robe up there, it clears this stuff, and I can hang it up there, and we can hang the dry robes up. So that's also a job for today. I'll just get rid of them. They weren't cheap things because they are genuine Coachman Swift ones. So yeah, quite well made. They've got little magnets to keep them shut and a little sticky thing that covers it. So you can see we've got the original table that's been with us since we had the bingo bus, so that's been there a while. So that still travels with us. We've just put a bit of anti-slip on the floor to stop it from sliding around, but even the Cadac's in here, which has now been converted to use quick fit stuff, and so I haven't got to piss about with that. The ramps are in here. What else we got in here? That's about it. Just generally stakes and stuff in there. That's it. Job's a good one. Right. In case we didn't say earlier, this is the Chausson Etap line 630. It's the 630 with the pull down beds, and all the ones with the 30 have got the double, the twin single pull down beds. It's 7 meters long. It's can't remember how many meters wide. But it's the 7 meters long bit that's the important bit. You can see we've had it in storage, so it's absolutely mingingly filthy already. So we need to get that cleaned up. But other than that, it's absolutely it's spot on. It's exactly what we were after. So I hope that's been useful anyway. And I need to crack on and do my actual fixing stuff now, because I've just realised I've left the little fly lead for the battery down in the house. Right, off we go. One last quick walk round it. I forgot to mention it came with a Thule Omni Store thing, and you can see the external lights there. They're just like the other ones, they're quite nice and bright. There you go. We're going to have lots of fun in this, I think.